Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Tim O'Malley with Tim Prister for Irish Illustrated, following Notre Dame's first Ohio State preparation practice. We know that because a lot of familiar numbers were not in those numbers. There's some guys that obviously moved to the scout team. One of them, though, not a scout team member that you should check your program at home. Logan Diggs looks to be wearing Avery Davis's number 3 for the upcoming season.
The much coveted number 3 is scooped up with Avery Davis being out. Now, we did not see offense and defense on the same field, right, except when the prep team guys wearing different numbers went over and started preparing the other side of the football. So we don't have a ton to report here. We did see Blake Grupe as we walked out. Right. He's hot, man. He's on fire. He nailed a couple of, it looked like 42-yarders. Josh Bryan struggled a little bit, but it looks like Blake Grupe is pretty dialed in here as game day approaches less than 2 weeks from now. I
think the main news offensively, obviously Jarrett Patterson still sidelined, working over by the Vikes. Deion Colsey was in uniform with a brace on his left knee. Didn't seem to be 100%, but Jaden Thomas seemed no worse for the wear. He was also out there. They were 8 scholarship receivers, no matter how you got to get there, with a guy coming from defense, well, back from offense to offense, and Matt Salerno. That's the most we've seen by far. If they can keep 8 healthy going in, you know, maybe Colsey doesn't help him week 1, but it's good that he's back now because then he can help the rest of the way. Yeah,
and on the defensive side of the ball, we didn't see Cam Hart, and I don't know if that's a hamstring, which he's dealt with before. I don't think it's a shoulder issue, but we'll see where he is. A lot of drill work. You know, we saw, I thought it was interesting, Alex Ahrensberger and Riley Mills working with the defensive tackles in a drill. I'm not sure that that's necessarily there. It's not Riley Mills' #1 position. He'll be starting at strong side end. But just mixing it up a little bit, adding some versatility to an already deep defensive line.
This is take it with a grain of salt because I'm just going by numbers that I saw, but Chance Tucker was wearing his number 18, Benjamin Morrison, the freshman, was wearing his number 20, and then Philip Riley and Ryan Barnes were not wearing their numbers, so it would seem that those two might be down with the prep team right now, and Tucker and Morrison with the varsity. Now, tomorrow, they could flip-flop those two, but we are saying what we saw today were those number changes, and offensively, I don't think there was anyone that can move down from the varsity to the drill team, not the receivers or the running backs. Connor Radigan was the lone walk-on that retained his number 86, and you know, offensively there wasn't a lot to show. The quarterbacks were inside briefly when some of the team came outside, but it's probably going to be that way at our next few viewings. Was there anything on the defensive side where you see someone like kind of funneling in that seemed to be getting some reps?
There's one guy I want to comment on is Gabe Rubio. Now, I'm not, you know, he's probably number 3 nose tackle. Yeah. But I really like what I see of him. I think he's got a good future here. He's behind is a bit of a logjam on the inside, but I really like what I see from him in that he has defensive, I should say nose tackle size, but 3 technique mobility. Yeah. And I think he gives you some versatility in there. I don't know where he is as far as playing against Ohio State. He's probably number 3 on the depth chart. I think that's a guy to keep an eye on as we move forward.
We left as the offense and defense got put together, but one guy that made, well, there was only about 10 catches I saw that today, but the guy that made the catch of the day I think is going to be involved in the 12 package. We love the freshman tight ends. We talk about Kane Barong's ability to catch the ball, but Kevin Bauman reaching back behind him like this, running the other way, and catching the point of the ball, that was the highlight of today's practice. You can read about that in our practice reports and more before we come back and interview Chris O'Leary and we assume 3 or 4 Irish safeties at irishillustrated.com.